and he's the inspiration for this book, this work. The author was writing in a certain knowledge that the Christian church, including all the separate churches, is about to face the biggest challenge and most sweeping changes in its history. While the church may feel secure with its traditions reaching back nearly 2,000 years to Jesus Christ and the disciples, the apostles, and its roots in the scriptures as compiled in the 4th and 5th centuries AD, it will inevitably be overtaken by the Golden Age and changed almost beyond recognition. This process will be well underway within 30 years. It has indeed already quite started. The author happened to be one of those many thousands of fortunate Christians around the world who had a vision of the approaching Golden Age and could sense the shape of the future in general terms. The evidence is clear for those with ears to hear and eyes to see. The author hoped that in this book either to present sufficient evidence to justify the claims which are made or point the reader to where the evidence may be found. And he felt himself to be in the position of one looking out to sea and watching a tidal wave gathering momentum and size as it nears the shore. He invited others to look in the direction in which he was looking and prepare themselves for its arrival. We are helpless to prevent its arrival, just as King Canute could not turn back a much lesser tide. When those who have not seen it approach are suddenly overwhelmed by it, there will be much surprise and shock. Those who are prepared for it will suffer much less. The tidal wave will strike Christendom within 10 years, perhaps much sooner. After it strikes, Christianity will be renewed and transformed, and Christians will truly be among those who are the salt of the earth and a light to the world. It's according to this author's claims. Just be very wary. Do your research on that. Prove it as fact or fraudulent. Or a load of phooey. No doubt there will be great resistance to the changes and much anguish. The pain and conflict can be lessened when the nature of the changes are understood. That is why the author has written this book. In this book, it is argued that the Golden Age commences with the return of Christ to his kingdom on earth. It's what's written scripturally, right, in the Bible. Another way of looking at it is that the work which Jesus began will find its fruition when the gospel will truly be preached to all the nations. Okay, it's already being preached to all the nations, but maybe it's not the correct versions, the Americanized English versions, their translations, which are copies, not from original manuscripts. But D. Ehrman said that. Yeah? Another way of looking at it is that the work which Jesus began will find its fruition when the gospel will truly be preached to all the nations. These times are predicted in the Bible and in many other scriptures on the earth. The second coming of Christ, as Christians would call it, will result in true reforms within the church. A restoration of the full message of Jesus without the errors which have crept into Christian doctrine and the flowering of God's kingdom on earth. The process is starting already in quiet ways and is gathering momentum gently but steadily. By the time those who would resist the changes become aware of them, the momentum will be unstoppable. Jesus warned us that the coming of the Lord will be as a thief in the night. If he is with us now and we ignore his presence, we will wake up in the morning to find the house has been turned over and we did not hear a thing. Worse still, if we are too late in our awakening, he will have already left the house and we will have missed the Okay, we're going to look within our book because we've run out of time borrowing this book from public access, public domain. He will have already left the house and we will have missed the chance to meet him. Unlike other thieves, this is one whose presence we should welcome. Those people alive today have an opportunity which is unique in history, as we have the chance to see the Lord and perhaps even meet him face to face and talk with him. Future generations of our descendants will envy the opportunity we have now, though we may not realize it. For those who greet such claims with skepticism and disbelief, all the author can hope to do is to present the evidence for these claims and show Christians why they should welcome the advent of the Golden Age, the coming of the Christ. When someone claims to be the Christ, what are we to make of the claim? We have been warned, biblically, scripturally, by Jesus in Matthew 24:4-5. Beware that no one leads you astray, for many will come in my name, and they already have, saying, I am the Messiah, and they will lead many astray. There have already been many false prophets, false messiahs, and false claimants to be the second Christ. Clearly, it would be a mistake to chase after every plausible rogue who claims to be Christ. How will we know the difference between all these charlatans and the genuine Christ? It may seem the safe thing to do to cast doubt on all claimants and to assume that anyone who claims to be the Christ is a fraud. However, this course too carries a significant risk. It is a great cost to us if we follow after a false Christ. However, it would be equally as big a loss for us if we fail to recognize the Christ when he does come. Could it be that our great-grandchildren will say, what an opportunity they missed! Christ walked on earth in their time and they knew him not. These questions have to be asked, and with some urgency. We need to know how to tell the difference between a false Christ and the real one, for we may soon have to make such a decision. If we know how we are going to make it, then it will be so much less painful for us. Well, you can tell by his fruits. What does he do? Okay, are they great? Are they beneficial? Are they of God? Are they of the Holy Spirit, etc.? If not, then they're a false Christ. If they start bragging and want all your money and all this sort of stuff, or they get arrested for molestation or tax fraud, well, you know they're not of the Christ, are they? They're not the Christ, the second Christ, or the Christ to come back. The test of the Antichrist. Supposing you were to hear of someone whom people tell you is the Christ, how would you know whether the person giving you the news was deluded, misguided, or correct, or tripping out? What would you expect Christ to look like? What would he or she do? Let us suppose that Christ is already walking the earth and you were to meet him or her. How would you know who this person is? If you knew he raised the dead, healed the sick, and performed other miracles, as Jesus did, including feeding crowds by multiplying food, turning water into petrol, well, did he ever do that? No, turn water into wine. Walking on water and so on. Would you believe this person is the Christ? Such a person clearly has supernatural powers, but would you suspect sorcery, demonic powers, or even that this person is one of the Antichrists? Which might be your first suspicion. And what are the Antichrists? Those who refuse to believe in the Christ. Okay? Those who are not of Christ, those who are children of the devil. Okay? Or worldly, unrighteous, ungodly. Let us look at the it's got a dash here between the two words, Antichrist theory. This is what John says about the last days and the Antichrist. Okay, so there could be a difference there. You have the Antichrist, those who refuse to believe in Jesus the Christ as the Son of God, etc. And this Antichrist, who supposedly in the future becomes all powerful and puts forth this new world order and all this one religion, one global police force, etc., etc. A real tyrant, a false Christ, etc. Right? They both mean the same thing, but we believe that if you've got a gap or a hyphen between the word, you're talking about a different kind of Antichrist, aren't you? This one that's supposed to come to power and rule and all this sort of stuff. Counterfeit. Children, it is the last hour. As you have heard that Antichrist is coming, so many Antichrists have come. In the scriptures it actually says, know the Antichrist is coming. In fact, he's already here. In that era. Yeah, and during Jesus' ministry. We've already done a video on that. From this we know that it is the last hour. Yeah, they all believed in those days that soon it's going to come, even the Essenes, but it never happened, right? The end of the days. Who is the liar but the one who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, and it's one word there, featured in this book. The one who denies the Father and the Son, everyone who confesses the Son, has the Father also. So there is that difference between the Antichrist, that one word, those who don't believe in Jesus, okay? The one who denies the Father and the Son, everyone who confesses the Son has the Father also. So, yeah. The opposite, the Antichrist, one word. The other one with the gap in between, the hyphen, that's talking about a specific world empire leader that's supposed to come in the future, all that sort of stuff, right? With great power and talking nonsense, all that sort of stuff. So here we have one clear test for the Antichrist, someone who denies the Father and the Son. Clearly, we must expect that the second Christ will not deny the Father or the Son, but will affirm both. A second clear test is given by Jesus. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves, or ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Matthew 7:15-16. The fruits of Sathya Sai Baba are that he has set the very highest standards of virtue in education, medicine, government and other fields of human conduct. He had inspired millions of people to live a God-fearing and saintly life, and his teachings represent the highest level of ethics and spirituality. This is according to the author. Evil men do not inspire all others to be saints. His own life and conduct is fully consonant with his own teachings. No person can point to any evil deed done by Sathya Sai Baba, while there are literally millions of testimonies to good deeds that he has done. So the video that we showed you before is a good deed, is it? Where it's apparently using deception. Like he's looking for something underneath that box, he's fiddling around there, and then suddenly he waves his hands around, once he's probably got hold of it, and makes out he pulled it out of thin air. Okay? That's not righteous, is it? That's not good, it's not true, it's deceptive, isn't it? Okay? He may have done all these other works, like created these hospitals, these different things that he's done. Those are works, okay? But he has to stand before God, and God will say, right, okay, let's have a look at your life. This is what you did. Now, why did you do that? That was unrighteous, that was sinful, all that sort of stuff. Okay, if he has that on him. What else would we expect of the second Christ? Would he or she affirm Christianity only, or would the Christ look into the hearts of all people regardless of creed, race, social position and gender? Probably the second one, right? We go with that. Would this person be accepted by Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims and others, or are Christians the only ones expecting him? The coming of God prophesied in other faiths. From the American Red Indians, Black Elk lived before the coming of the white man, whose coming he foresaw. He also told of the coming of a new age and a messenger of love and understanding who would bring the entire human race into a circle of love and harmony. Black Elk said that when people received this new message, those who understood it would be like flames of fire spreading it to other people, but those who did not receive the new message would be filled with darkness. So you could take that one of two ways. Okay. The one we know as the Buddha said, I am not the first Buddha who has come upon the earth, nor shall I be the last. In due time another Buddha will arise in the world, a holy one, a supremely enlightened one, endowed with wisdom, embracing the universe, an incomparable leader of men, a ruler of angels and mortals. He will reveal to you the same eternal truths which I have taught you. Okay. So again, you can take that one of two ways. True or fiction. Truth or fiction. It is told in Buddhist prophecies how the new era shall manifest itself, starting with an unprecedented war among nations, with brother against brother and lack of understanding between peoples. In this respect, Buddha says much the same things which Jesus tells us. Hindus have a tradition of divine incarnations who come to restore harmony, peace and righteousness among peoples. One of their scriptures, the Mahabharata, tells of a Kali Yuga, an age of darkness corresponding to our present age, marked by moral and spiritual decline, political corruption, oppressed dishonesty, crime, and the prevalence of falsehood. Vishnu, the Lord of creation, said, When evil is rampant upon the earth, I will take birth in the family of a virtuous man and assume a human body to restore tranquility. This avatar, incarnation of God, will possess great energy, great intelligence, and great powers. He will restore order and peace in the world. He will inaugurate a new era of truth and will be adored by spiritual people. Muhammad of Islam, right, told of the guided one who is to come, who will have great power, great wisdom and knowledge. Muhammad gave a list of 300 features, including a very clear physical description of the guided one. Muhammad says, among many other things, he will be short in stature, probably about 5'4" or something like that, live for 96 years, be highly intelligent, be surrounded by many followers, have profuse hair, wear red robes, have a mole on the cheek, will give gifts that are light in weight, will tread the path of righteousness and gather the seekers of God around him. And that was claimed by Sai Baba, as we already showed you in the article. Okay, he claimed that he would live to be 96, but he died at the age of 84. So he was incorrect there. Here it is here. Sathya alone will incarnate as the third Sai, Sathya Sai Baba, in the same Gotra in Mandya district of Karnataka state. He stated he would be born again 8 years after his death at the age of 96, but died at the age of 84. Okay, what's it say? On recovering Sai Baba from his illness, or where he was going to, I am Shiva Sakti, born in the Gotra lineage of Bharadwaja, according to a boon won by that sage from Shiva and Sakti. Shiva was born in the Gotra, etc., etc. So he's claiming to be that. He claimed to be that person, or that being. Pretty sure that's what he's saying there. He stated he would be born again 8 years after his death at the age of 96, but died at 84. So yeah, that's what he claimed, we believe. So as a Buddhist, as a Red Indian, and as a Muslim, you have to check out your surahs, your Indian histories, your prophecies, whatever, and Buddhists, you have to check that out too to see if that actually is written in there. And you could possibly get back to us and tell us nope or yep, and show us exactly where it is in your holy writ, your books, your texts, whatever, by clicking on the comments and adding them below this video. Muhammad supposedly said that Muslims will not recognize him until 9 years before his passing from the earth, and adds, you could have stretched out your hand and been with him, but you missed him. In the West, Nostradamus predicted that after the Battle of Armageddon, a new Saviour will appear to guide people in the way of truth and peace. He wrote, he who has been awaited for such a long time will not appear in Europe, he will appear in Asia. He also predicted that Thursday will be his holy day. In the book of Revelation, there are similar prophecies, and the Jews, of course, are still awaiting their Messiah. The interesting point from all this is that the coming of a person Christians would call the Christ is expected by most people of the world. It therefore is to be expected that such a person will be eventually accepted by all spiritual peoples of whatever religion or creed. This, then, is the second test that the author would make of a claimant to be the Christ. Not only must he or she affirm Jesus as Christ, but also will it be accepted by other religions which have teachings compatible with those of Christ. From our traditional perspective, or the author's traditional perspective, it may seem a tall order, but it will be seen that Sathya Sai Baba passes both tests. So he's confirming that he was the Christ incarnate, or God incarnate in the flesh. The need for the current incarnation of Christ. We need to realize that God does not come to earth unless he has to. Jesus said, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All this is but the beginning of birth pangs." Matthew 24, 5 to 8. There is much talk among Christians, or there was much talk amongst Christians, of the Battle of Armageddon, which is mentioned in the book of Revelation 16:16. Okay, and if you look at the original ancient Galilean Aramaic New Testament manuscripts, you'll find that it's not a future event, one of these up and coming conspiracy theory events. It actually has already happened historically, and ranks very much like a nuclear war. The author believes that the Battle of Armageddon in the form of a nuclear war between nations will not happen on earth, and it is to prevent such a war that Christ has come in the form of Sathya Sai Baba. So then again he's making a claim that he's Christ incarnate, Christ in the flesh when he was alive. Many feel that the Lord has already intervened to prevent such a war. It is also arguable that the Battle of Armageddon is even now occurring in the spiritual realms beyond our mortal sight, which is why we seem to have so many people, including our political leaders and others, who are doing work which could be demonic in origin. Crime and immortality is now rampant, and the governments of the world seem powerless to stop these recurring waves of violence. Indeed, governments even appear to encourage these patterns of unrest, as they seem to consider economic values more important than human values. In New Zealand, as in many other countries who have adopted the market economy as their route to salvation, we are saddled with a political and economic system which is destroying moral values and settles class against class. The willingness of neighbour to help neighbour is being destroyed, and there is a noticeable hardening of hearts against the needy and hungry. Well, in our community, with us, there's none of that. We see people sitting on the side of the road. We know that they're a drug addict or addicted to alcohol or something like that, right? And that's what they're after, money to get that, right? Some of them are generally homeless. We give them something to eat, okay? Have a little talk with them, yeah? Don't push Jesus on them, okay? Unless, they say, well, I've got problems in my life and I wish there was a way I could get over that. Well, we suggest, how about give Jesus a try, right? Okay, it's never like, you must believe or you're going to hell, all this sort of stuff. No, none of that stuff. Bash with the Bible on your head. No, don't do that. Okay, the greedy and unscrupulous are rewarded, and those who raise moral objections are scorned as unrealistic or preaching a discredited gospel. In a land of plenty, there are children who are not being fed. Well, they did do some solutions, like at schools, take the food to the schools, to the children, feed the children. Okay, there are other people, gangs, that got together, instead of killing each other, beating each other up. Certain gangs in certain places put on a big hangi or a big feed, for the people. Maybe they pay a little bit of coin, they help them out. Okay, so there are things there being done. Okay, there are food banks and stuff like that, but through a lack of funding they can't always give. Okay, but they're out there. In the land of plenty, there are children who are not being fed, families who cannot afford medical care, and thousands of young people who can see no solution to their problems except for suicide, because they're snowflakes. They become snowflakes. They're not like as tough as they make out they are, because they're young, right? They think, oh, what's this happening to me? And all this sort of stuff. They don't deal with it. It's easy for them to wimp out, and do all this sort of stuff. But we don't condone these people because they do the suicides, right? Okay, it's just something that people do, young people do. They need love, support. They're lacking something, maybe. Okay, if you show them some kindness, that stops them temporarily, but you keep showing them kindness to stop them even longer, right? That sort of stuff. You be their friend, all that sort of stuff. Don't be, oh, you shouldn't be doing that because you're going to go burn in hell and all, oh, how selfish, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we've actually heard that from different teenagers, right? You know? So we try to spend time with them and talk to them and encourage them. Well, yeah, you don't know what's on the other side, man. You know? Once you're dead and you're on that side, there's no coming back. So you can cry and weep and all that, go through all this torment, whatever is on the other side. You know, you want to get out of there, but you put yourself there. Sorry about that, buddy. Just don't go there. Okay? Trust us. Surely the forces of darkness are succeeding in temporarily taking over what used to be called paradise. We are experiencing the consequences of unbridled ego and selfishness in all aspects of our life. Yeah, this is a great country. Okay? Everybody loves it. They all come here. We all want a piece of it. Yeah, it's nice fresh air, nice green grass, all that sort of stuff, right? Nice people. There's some clowns, but yeah, clowns in every country, isn't there? The only alternative to this slide into hell on earth is an acceptance of the way of righteousness, truth, universal love, inner peace and non-violence. It is these values which Sathya Sai Baba brings to us. The forces of darkness will succeed only temporarily. This was prophesied in the Bible and is reinforced by Sathya Sai Baba. The free market economy is not itself causing the economic difficulties being felt in most countries of the world. The free market philosophy has freed humanity from the deadening stranglehold of government and political ideologies and may be a potent force for good. When managed from a spiritual perspective, the destructive forces arise when the free market is used only for the enrichment of the few at the expense of the rest. When spiritual values motivate the free market, which they will do in the future, then the world will enjoy a period of prosperity and peace which has never before been seen in the history of the human race. Yet another possibility is that the Battle of Armageddon is actually occurring within the human soul at this time when so many people live hopeless lives of misery, degradation and godlessness. Just because many people are living in hard times, they do not have to live in misery. Exactly. Even the rich are often miserable. They've got all this money, all this sort of stuff, but they're alone. They're lonely. They've got no partner, got no wife, or they lost their wife, or broke up, or they're playing around, whatever. Yeah? Poverty and misery are often states of mind rather than objective experience. Yeah? So we look at these people who are sitting on the street now. They're homeless, they're addicted, etc., etc. They got no money, they got no job. Yeah, they're telling us their story, we're listening, but we realise, bro, there's ways. You got to pick yourself up. You got to be able to pick yourself up off your ass, okay, and strive to help yourself. Nobody else can really do it for you. There are people out there who will give you assistance, but because there's a lack of funding or whatever they may use, they may not get to you. They might not actually help you, right? These kind of things happen, but it all starts with you. You got to get off your ass. You got to find a way. If you say like this guy's telling us, oh, he's living on the road with his girlfriend in a van and all this sort of stuff, etc., etc. He's got some jobs apparently in a certain part of the country. He's been offered, so you should, what's stopping him from getting in his van, gathering up some money from somewhere, getting in his van, tank full of gas, and going down there and starting from there, right? Live in his van and work until he gets lots of money and get a housing New Zealand house or whatever. There's always these options, right? Oh, but you have to go on this long waiting list. Try emergency housing, right? Get a tent, go to work, make all your money, save up your money, find a way to, pay yourself first, make yourself wealthier, secure. We found this old quote that said, if you haven't got $1,000 or more, if you haven't got enough money put away for emergencies like paying your rent, paying your bills, or that sort of stuff for at least 6 months to a year, well then you're basically broke. So you got to work at it. That's what we here, the Ministry of the Truth, are doing, right? Within our own residence, we have problems all the time. Okay. But we managed to be able to pay our bills ahead of the due date, okay, because we grow our own food, right? We see a street cupboard that has a few cans of food. Well, yeah, we take those. We don't take the whole lot because we could do that, as other people do, right? We just take what we think. Oh yeah, okay. What the hell's that? Okay, well, that's baked beans. Oh yeah, spaghetti. Whatever. Yeah, we'll take that. We take little, right, and leave something for somebody else. Whether they take the whole lot for themselves, well, we don't know. We're not there. That sort of thing, right? We grow vegetables and stuff and give it to other people, neighbours and all that sort of stuff. Some neighbours, very few in between, give us plants. We swap vegetables or give them vegetables, whatever. They give us plants like chocos, whatever, right? We plant them, and then they come back later on and say, wow, what's all those plants? Those are the plants you gave us. Wow, how'd they grow so big, so many? Because, we planted them and that's what happened. So we share them with them, right? Or they might come up now and again. Sometimes they got a motive, like the Buddhist lady, oh, you should come to the temple and blah, blah, blah. Or a Muslim, a Muslim one, oh, you should come to the temple, our mosque, all that sort of stuff, right? They're just being kind, but there's always that motive, that agenda behind it, right? Yeah. We had a Christian friend like that as well. He'd say, oh, you should come watch this movie because it's really good and all this sort of stuff. And I'll buy you some food, shut you some food, go, hop in a car, get up there and you end up in the church. No food, nothing. Oh, let's go see a friend. He knows all about that stuff. He's a Jew, came up from Israel. Go talk to him, eh? Yeah, end up in the church. Right. Oh, well, your friend's got a massive apartment. Oh, there's a lot of flatmates here, he reckons. It's all deceit, right, to try and get you to the church. Because they got some sort of reward, whether it's spiritual or physical, like the welfare, Social Security here. I knew a guy that, he had some disabilities, but he ended up working for the social welfare here, or the Social Security, the welfare system, and asked him one day, and he said, yeah, we get rewards. Because they're talking about this lady trying to set us up with a job, went to this place, 4 bus rides, 4 buses to get there, the little money that we would have earned and got for travel allowance, well, by the time we had that at the end of the week, we'd basically have nothing. Okay, so we asked him why is she doing that, and pushy. And he says, oh, because you're right, they got some sort of incentive. They get a reward, maybe a video player or a DVD player or something like that. There's all these incentives for them to get people out of employment. Good cause, but they've got these motives, these hidden agendas, right? Same with the cops. The other day, went shopping, had the old cart, bag on the back, went up to this, what we call the warehouse. It's like this big warehouse, obviously, with all this cheaper food and all this sort of stuff. So go and look at that. Talking to this guy that's holding up a sign, oh, I need some food, I got kids, give me dog food, feed my dog, whatever he had on the thing. So we're just talking to the guy, right? Because here, being alone for 2 or 3 weeks, the team might have gone somewhere else, right? Spend time with their family. You got no one to converse with, okay? So, we're social animals, aren't we? So you start talking to this guy non-stop. And then the cops come along. Oh, what's up, officer? Oh, were you at this certain street at a certain time? Because someone fits your description was walking up and down there or something like that. Really? They look like me? They're just the same as me? That's what's going through your mind. You don't say it to the cops because it's fuel for the fire, right? Oh, you're a bit of a smart ass. Better arrest you, that sort of stuff, right? And you're going, we've got to report that, someone that fits your description was hanging around houses or something. We know who the guy is because he's a thief. Right? He goes to every house and he steals stuff. You go walk up the street. He's got nothing there. He's just knocking on the door. You come back and he's got this shopping trolley full of the stuff. Now, where the hell did he get that from? He's going around the neighbourhood stealing it, right, off these properties to sell it up at a trading store up the road. Okay, so he complains. Oh, I got done. I'm going to go to court because I've got charges for trespassing. Oh, all I did was knocked on the door. No, bro. You're seen by the neighbours on that person's property. Those neighbours don't know you. Yeah, they know those people that live in their house. They don't know you. So they're concerned, so they ring the cops. So as soon as you step past that letterbox onto that property, bam, you get done for trespassing. you know. And we jolly well know he's going around stealing stuff, because he used to do that to us as well. So we put up some surprises. So if he jumps our fence and stuff like that, it'd be like a rat in a trap. But yeah, some of those things, you can't do those sort of things. Like have a log that flies out and it's got spikes on it and embeds into his stomach or that sort of stuff. Or hangs him upside down. You can't do that sort of thing, right? You can't have an electric fence, so when he touches your gate, it gets 2,000 volts. Goes through his body. You can't do that sort of thing. But yeah, he kept stealing, so we got a trespassing order. Okay, so yeah, be very careful of this particular book, and this particular author, and this particular Sai Baba character. Okay, because as we showed in the other videos, he used sleight of hand. He was looking underneath the box, feeling around, trying to find that gold necklace or whatever it was. He finally finds it, and he makes a show of it in front of everybody else. The guy that was across from him, he probably could have seen what he was doing, right? But obviously he's not going to say anything. He's his beloved guru or whatever. He's too afraid to say something. And he pulls out this gold chain, and he's waving it. He's waving his hand around, right, making out that he's pulled it out from thin air. Yeah, he was a trickster. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Give us a like, subscribe to our channel, add your comments underneath this video, and then go share this video with all your family, friends and others. It's a video to make all aware, to make you aware, to make all aware of these tricksters out there. Okay, they will fool you any way they can to get your money, to get your valuables, get you under their control, make you their subjects, be under their boot heel, etc., etc., and make themselves rich. Okay, that's what it's all about. Recognition, getting rich, getting fatter off of your back.